space, and all of them would technically then qualify as civilian or perhaps even commercial astronauts. In other words, the idea being you're not a space shuttle astronaut, you're not on the space station, but rather the new age in space tourism, which this is really all about.
Yeah.
This is not really about a one-shot with Jeff Bezos any more than the Branson trip was about a one-shot with Richard Branson 9 days ago. This is about opening the door to space tourism, and what both men believe is a very, very big market for exactly that.
And Tom, while you were reporting there, that countdown clock, it restarted. It would appear as if the hold has been lifted. Tom, you mentioned Sir Richard Branson's flight 9 days ago. Talk to us a little bit about the differences between what we are going to see when this Blue Origin plane takes off versus what we saw just a few days ago.
Yeah, two very big differences to begin with. As you know, the Richard Branson Virgin Galactic space plane was dropped from a mothership, and then they lit the rocket, and the rocket took them at Mach 3 right up to 53 miles above the Earth. And so that qualifies, that goes beyond what NASA and the FAA define as the edge of space. Different from this experience here, where we have Jeff Bezos in the Blue Origin rocket, not a plane. It's a rocket like you and I are familiar with from the old Apollo days. They will light the rocket here. They will also accelerate to Mach 3, and then at a certain point, the rocket will drop away from the space capsule. The capsule will continue on its trajectory to 62 miles above the Earth, and they, too, at that point, will cross the boundary between the atmosphere and space. As you know, there's kind of an international disagreement over where exactly is that line. Again, NASA and the FAA and the military say it's 50 miles up. That's what Branson did. The international organization that manages these treaties says, no, it's 62 miles up. Not that it matters, right? At that point, you're still going to experience weightlessness for 3 to 4 minutes. And that's exactly what these folks will do before then the capsule begins to descend back down to Earth, much like in the Apollo days. It will descend down, and then it will have those parachutes come out from the top. But instead of landing in the water, they're going to land in West Texas, in the desert here, this massive desert behind me. And there is a lot of space out here. There's a lot of sand. I asked them yesterday, do you have a bullseye, a target you have to hit on landing? And they said, no, not at all. We got plenty of space out there. We can land wherever we want, right off of the, really right behind me. And so they've got the Range Rovers or the trucks ready to roll out there to immediately get those guys. You know, one question I asked yesterday, I was talking to the senior design engineer, and I said, what about re-entry heat? Because as you know, when the space shuttle re-entered the atmosphere, it would heat up so much, of course, that those protective tiles underneath were meant to protect the crew. And as you know, there was a failure at one point, and we lost a space shuttle because of that. The difference here, though, is that they're coming back down at, I'm told, about Mach 1.6. Contrast that to the space shuttle at Mach 25. And so there's not nearly the level of heating. They didn't go nearly as far out of the atmosphere and into space as we saw with the shuttle. So you're not going to have nearly as much heating, and so they use a foam underneath the space capsule. They don't need the tiles, they say. They'll parachute back down to Earth, and then they will very quickly be picked up by the crews on the ground.
We are now just 10.5 minutes away from that 60-foot tall rocket heading into space. Mr. Costello, don't go far. I do want to bring in Kathy LUEDERS now. Kathy leads NASA's human space flight program. Kathy, thanks for your time this morning. Kathy, did you think, let's say 20 years ago, that we would be sitting here talking about 4 civilians heading into space?
Absolutely. This is what we've been working for. I've been working different commercial activities for the last 15 years, and I'm going to tell you, we are rooting for this crew, just like we were rooting for the crew last week, because this is what we wanted to be working towards one day, and this is just amazing.
Also joining me this morning, former NASA astronaut Ron GARAN. And Ron, the rocket has been named New Shepard, of course, a tribute to the first American into space, Alan Shepard. As you're sitting and watching right now, Ron, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking?
Oh, this is exciting. I think this is the dawn of a new era of space travel, where hopefully space travel becomes as commonplace as air travel. And I think these are the baby steps leading to this. And I think it's really fitting that it's a nod back to that first suborbital flight of the U.S. space program with Alan Shepard on board.
You were aboard Space Shuttle Discovery, if I recall correctly. When they do go into space, we hear so much talk about the G's. And what is it going to feel like for these civilians as they ascend and then as they descend?
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting ride. They're going to accelerate, as Tom said, about 3 times the speed of sound. They're going to do that in a matter of minutes. So there's going to be a lot of G-force on them. They're going to feel like 3 times as heavy as they do normally. So they're going to be pushed back in their seat. They're going to feel like an elephant is sitting on their chest. And they're going to watch the sky turn from blue to black. They're going to see the curvature of the Earth, the thinness of the atmosphere. They're going to see our sun in a black sky. None of them have ever seen that before. They're going to see our sun as a star, as it truly is. And they're going to go from feeling like that elephant is sitting on their chest to being weightless instantly when the engine kicks off. And then they're going to be experiencing the freedom of zero G. And it's going to be spectacular. It's quite a view. A
live look here at mission control, so to speak, as we approach the 8-minute mark, 8 minutes until we watch this rocket head into space. Mr. Costello, I understand you are still with me. I want to ask you about those windows specifically, because yesterday you actually got a look inside the training capsule, and you were describing these windows as something like which you've never seen before.
You know, it's almost like having an IMAX screen right next to you, because they're huge. They have 6 big windows inside the space capsule. So you, if you're strapped into the seat, and I was yesterday, you're kind of strapped down. You're in it's like being in a dentist chair, more comfortable though. Nobody's drilling on you. And you look out to your right, and you've got a massive window, and you will see the Earth drop away, and then you'll see, as you start to head into space, the curvature of the Earth and the blackness and the rich blue of Earth. So all of that out your window, and everybody gets their own window, 6 windows inside the capsule. And this was part of the design. They wanted this to be very much about the experience for the individual who's going to pay to go. You know, we should also make the point, today is the 52nd anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. And that was a very important moment for Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson. They both said after that day it changed them. They both wanted to go to space, and instead of joining NASA, they essentially started their own space companies, built their own spaceships, and they believe that there is great interest with the general public to do exactly that, to go to space. Yeah. And they are both reusing their technology, right? So Branson comes back from space, in the space plane, lands it, reuses it. And the same thing here. Blue Origin going to reuse the rocket, reuse the space capsule again and again and again. And they insist that there are so many multiple redundancies in terms of safety. It is very, very safe for the paying passenger going forward who is not a veteran astronaut like your 2 other guests.
And Tom, as we approach the 6-minute mark, a live look here at a viewing party. This is the family and a lot of friends of 82-year-old Wally Funk. And as we watch the civilian crew aboard that aircraft a short time ago, it was Wally Funk leading them up those stairs. Mae Jemison has been on an aircraft or 2 in her day. Of course, it was Mae Jemison who became the first African. Oh, no, we'll get to Mae in just a moment. Let's talk about the business angle of this for just a moment. Andrew Ross Sorkin is with me as well, CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin. So to Tom's point, Andrew, the thinking here is that roughly a decade from now, this will be a $10 billion industry. Folks will be able to shell out a few $100,000 and experience what we are about to watch these 4 civilians experience now as well. That's the big bet, no?
It is the big bet, but in many ways, it's even a bigger bet than that. Jeff Bezos has spent about $6 billion of his own money on Blue Origin. But you have this space race going on between Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos. They all come at this with a different approach. Elon Musk says he wants to get people to Mars effectively over the long term so we can escape Earth. Jeff Bezos has a very different idea. He believes that Earth is the best place for humans, and he wants to build infrastructure effectively to get manufacturing and everything that happens on Earth that he doesn't think needs to happen here out into space. And so there's the space tourism business. That's the next 10 years. We'll see what that business looks like. But for Jeff Bezos, there's an even bigger idea here, which is to really fundamentally change how we on Earth interact with space over the long term.
Jeff Bezos, the world's wealthiest man, worth somewhere north of $200 billion at last check. Sir Richard Branson, also a billionaire, albeit fewer billions than Jeff Bezos. Tom Costello, a lot has been made over the past few weeks of this rivalry, perhaps, between the two billionaire astronauts. Well, one billionaire astronaut, one soon-to-be billionaire astronaut, it would seem. What do we make of that rivalry? Is that something that we, the media, have sort of created, or is it legitimate on some level?
Yes and yes. I think that we in the media have probably made a big deal out of the fact that we have two billionaires who built their own spaceships, and they're going to carry passengers, and oh wow, who gets to go first? And let's be clear, Bezos said he was going to go today, July 20th. When that announcement came out, Branson immediately said, we're going on a week before or 9 days before. That may have caused a little bit of hard feelings here in the Bezos camp. Keep in mind they put out kind of I don't know, a tweet that wasn't in great taste, in which they essentially questioned whether Branson and his passengers would really be astronauts because they're not going as high as Bezos would go. I must say, I think that a lot of spectators and informed people who watch this industry in and out every single day really question whether somebody who peeks their head into space for 3 minutes is an astronaut. Not in any way qualified like your two guests or somebody who spends years training for a mission with NASA or to spend 6 months on the space station. But nonetheless, it is about the experience, the human experience of being able to see Earth in its totality, right? And hopefully see the Earth without boundaries and borders and challenges. And in the words of, the former NASA administrator, you come back with a much deeper appreciation for doing all we can to save this planet.
We are under 2 minutes now, 2 minutes away from New Shepard, ascending into space, traveling some 62 miles. The entire flight from touchdown to landing expected to take roughly 11 minutes. And Tom, it would seem as if our vantage point has changed a bit. We're getting a closer look now at the capsule itself. What's happening in mission control right now, Tom?
This is literally going through all of those engineering checks that you would experience if you were listening to a SpaceX launch or a NASA launch. Obviously not nearly as complicated as a NASA launch, but still the same attention to detail, making sure every system is go, that all of the fuel lines are positive. They're going to be burning a combination of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, 110,000 pounds of thrust as they lift off here from the desert floor in West Texas. And it is about making sure it all looks good. But as you mentioned, 15 unmanned test flights so far have all been flawless, and they have an emergency abort system. Should something go wrong on ascent, they will literally catapult or fire the crew out and away from the rocket, and then they will parachute back down to Earth. And then on descent, they have 3 parachutes rather than 1 to ensure it's a safe landing. They believe that this is going to be the way you and I and everybody else in the future will experience looking at the Earth from 62 miles high. So important now as we listen in to Mission Control and the final countdown to liftoff.
Let us do that right now. We are 15 seconds away from the scheduled liftoff of New Shepard. Jeff Bezos, his younger brother Mark,
10,
Wally
9,
Funk, and Oliver
8,
Dayton.
7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1.
And New Shepard has cleared the tower on our way to space with our first human crew. Go, Jeff. Go, Mark. Go, Wally. Go, Oliver. You are going to space.
5,000 feet.
are just about to pass through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. That was when the stresses on the vehicle are at their maximum.
Max Q.
Max Q is confirmed. Beautiful burn on that BE3 engine. Liquid hydrogen.
Mach 1.
And liquid oxygen as the propellant. It's a nice, not just clean in terms of beautifully performing, but what comes out of it, it's steam, right? Whew. To see the glow of the engine underneath the rocket, just under our shoulders, and to know that we've got a crew that is going to space, it just feels different, doesn't it, Gary?
It is totally different.
We are watching history. The first
All right, you can follow along,
unpiloted
of course,
suborbital
the
flight
speedometer in the bottom
with an
left,
all-civilian
altimeter
crew.
in the middle
2
of
minutes
the
in the air
screen
now.
there.
Tom, at what point do we see that capsule start to
So far
start to
appears to be
separate
a nominal
from the rocket
flight.
booster?
I think that'll occur, I think, at about the 6-minute mark, Craig, but I don't have the exact timeline. I think we should just make the point to the viewer who's watching, and that the female voice you hear is the voice of Blue Origin's Mission Control. This is not NASA. This is not a government entity that is providing us that kind of data straight from NASA. This is, of course, a private company providing us their narration, and so we're very mindful of that. But you're going to get spectacular views here, and you're going to get the engineering expertise, of course, as well, from Blue Origin's own Mission Control.
Unreal. Awaiting separation here.
Ron Garan is also with me, of course. Ron, former NASA astronaut, F-16 fighter pilot. Ron, what's happening right now inside that cabin? What are those astronauts feeling? What are they seeing?
And here we are. You can start
Well,
to see.
well, they had the engine cut off, and so they
Stand by.
went from
You're gonna
feeling
see
like they were
the
being pushed back in their chair with an
separation of the
elephant sitting on their chest to being
booster
weightless. And so I think they're probably getting ready to unstrap. The whole way up, they saw that view out the window, and they're probably marveling right now at the indescribable beauty of our planet and the thinness of the atmosphere and the curvature of the Earth. And I hope they're having a wonderful time.
Ron, there are so few people who have seen that view that you and other astronauts have enjoyed. Can you describe it at all for us?
Yeah, I think what I experienced in space the first time I looked out the window was an indescribable feeling of gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to see the planet from that vantage point, and gratitude for the planet that we've been given. And I think in a way that I won't be able to fully explain, being physically detached from the Earth made me feel deeply interconnected and deeply interdependent with everyone on it. I think I saw the true unity of our planet, the true unity of our species, and all those things we fight over and quarrel over, all those things we think are so important, kind of blurred into insignificance in the face of that indescribable beauty.
Any moment now, we're told that that capsule is going to separate from the rocket booster. And Mr. Costello, at what point will these civilian astronauts begin to experience that weightlessness?
Yeah, they'll get it pretty darn quickly, and I'm trying to listen in to Mission Control as well, because she's our best source on exactly what's happening up there. As we mentioned earlier, we have been waiting for more details from Blue Origin. Some of that they hold close to the vest. So the best description of what's happening.
1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Yeah, I think that's.
Let's try to listen into Blue Origin
I think we're
Mission
hearing them
Control
right
for just a
now.
bit. Let's try to listen in.
Get that one?
Got it.
Got it?
Let's see if I can see the boost.
Yeah,
Little bit.
I cannot. Oh, wow. You got to take a moment to do that.
Okay, get in. We gotta get in. Do the roll.
Oh, fantastic. Look at this. It's dark up here.
Oh, wow.
Craig, so we are hearing them floating inside the capsule and taking the photographs of each other.
Everybody in?
First step, status check.
We don't have the video of that just yet, Tom, but what we can do is describe on the right side of your screen, you are seeing that capsule. It has, as you can see there, detached from the rocket booster. That's precisely what's supposed to happen. And in just a few moments, you'll see 3 parachutes as well, bringing that capsule back to the ground.
And when I mentioned the 6-minute mark, that I meant to say that's at about the point that they get back into their seats. I think that's where we are now.
Astronaut Bezos.
Now keep in mind, we're going to probably get shots of the rocket coming back down and the space capsule separately, parachuting down.
That's what we're looking at on the right side of the screen. That rocket booster is descending.
Copy.
Yep. That's right. You're looking at the rocket booster. It'll come back down, land on a pad here, back down in West Texas, separately, followed by the space capsule, which will be under parachutes. So a phenomenal shot of the rocket booster coming back down.
On New Shepard, so far, phenomenal flight. Our booster
And what you just heard here was a sonic boom as the rocket comes back down to Earth.
The sonic boom.
My goodness. And the booster has landed. The booster's on the ground, Tom.
And booster touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard. A beautiful rocket that provided a beautiful flight to space.
Bullseye, right on the landing.
My goodness. Stuck the landing. And Tom, that capsule should follow here in roughly 3 minutes, correct?
That's exactly right. So, and they will pull those chutes. And as that capsule is coming back down, it'll hit 3.7. Mach 3.7 initially as it comes back down. And then the chutes will come out, and they will eventually slow to 16 miles per hour. And as it comes within about 20 feet of Earth, they will fire some retro rockets that will slow it even further as it has a very soft landing in the West Texas sand. And there is...
And there are the parachutes.
There's a lot of sand. There are the chutes.
All 3 parachutes. Tom, do stand by for me once again. We are joined now by space royalty.
So far, a nominal
Mae Jemison is with me, former NASA astronaut, the first woman of color in space in 1992. Part of that first crew after the Challenger explosion in '86. May, the 4 civilians who are inside that capsule that are about to touch down here on the 3rd rock from the sun, what are they thinking right now? What are they feeling right now?
Well, I can't tell you exactly, but if it was me, I would have this big smile on my face and probably wanting to do it all over again. I think what they've done is to see something that is an incredible view, and also to have an experience that, we don't often have in life. I was thinking about the excitement with this. It was because the rocket, you get to see all of the things that go on the flight for a short period of time, and the adrenaline that goes with it. I think they're just excited and wanting to tell the story when they get back.
And what a story they will have, a lifetime of stories. Mae Jemison, do stand by as we watch Jeff Bezos, his younger brother Mark, Wally Funk, the oldest woman to ever go into space, and Oliver Damon, all of them
adrenaline is pumping now.
About to touch down in the West Texas desert.
And touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard's first human crew. What a flight.
Welcome back to Earth, first step. Congratulations to all of you.
What a day, what a day.
wonderful on this capsule. We're
Mission
so grateful
complete.
to everybody who made this possible.
Mission accomplished. And now we watch and wait.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Copy first step. You have a very happy Capcom here as well. Let's do a status check. Astronaut Oliver. Copy. Astronaut demo.
Astronaut demo. I am unbelievably good.
Copy.
Blue Control, Bezos, best day ever.
Copy, everyone. Go ahead and remain in your seats. Crew member 7 is on their way. Shortly, you will hear the capsule off-gassing.
Did anybody have to start altitude or altitude? I didn't. Yeah. No, they got the we'll find out. It's okay. I had my main mission was accomplished. I didn't kick anyone.
That was only about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We were listening to Blue Origin Mission Control. You can see Mission Control there. Mr. Costello, it would seem as if it went off without a hitch.
Yeah, and I think we heard their excitement in their voices. I think I just heard Wally Funk say she'd been floating for 5 minutes, which has just exceeded her expectations. Obviously, a great experience. And I got to think also about this 18-year-old Dutch kid, Oliver, who 2 weeks ago was between high school and college, and suddenly he's on a rocket going to the edge of space. So what a game changer this has been for him. What they're going to do now is make sure that all safety protocols are followed. They offload any gases, you heard them say, and then they're going to come in very quickly, or are coming in very quickly, I should say, right now, with the ground support team in trucks. And they will bring these new astronauts from their spaceship. Yeah.
We're
from their spaceship out towards the staging ground.
We are replaying the moment just a few moments ago, that rocket booster taking off. And Tom, the whole thing was actually a few seconds less than the 11 minutes we were expecting. We can also tell folks.
So do you...
Go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, do you get a refund if you come down 10 minutes and 30 seconds instead of 11 minutes into the flight? I don't know. It's a pretty expensive ticket. Listen, I do think it's also worth making the point. The beauty of this system, and let's celebrate the engineering expertise here. The beauty of this system is it is a reusable rocket. Yeah. They're going to turn that rocket booster around, and the space capsule also will be reused.
And we're watching those SUVs pull up to the capsule here. And presumably in just a few moments, we are going to see 4 very happy, very excited folks.
That's how they can get to it so quickly. They start moving even before it landed based on the prediction of landing. We use weather balloons that we launched throughout the morning, and that gives us a very good idea of where it will land, which are within 1,000 feet. What you're seeing that they're doing right now is Kevin Sprague, crew member 7, is just making sure everybody is okay and gives them a thumbs up. They're also grounding the vehicle. When you go into space, you could accumulate pretty significant electric charge. That's actually why we prefer that the astronauts not get out themselves, so that we can ground the vehicle of static charge, which can be quite strong.
Excellent, and I think there that Kevin Sprague, our crew member 7, has given the thumbs up for all of our astronauts that are on board there. Again, Jeff Bezos, Mark Bezos, Wally Funk, and Oliver Damon. What an incredible day. You heard them on the audio. Best day ever. I mean, this is. I feel like this is our best day ever, and we didn't even get to go up to space. I mean, what a day! Again, congratulations to the entire Blue team, our astronaut crew, and of course the friends and family of these incredible astronauts. They're just about to exit the capsule here. Let's wait for that moment. There you see Jeff in the window.
Oh, there you are.
Felix is up here.
All right, guys, what we do later.
I got a main line in front of the hatch. There's the main parachute line in front of the hatch. Left.
Okay, take the side, take the side. Help on the bush.
They're just moving one of the main parachute lines to make sure it doesn't snag the hatch when it opens.
And there's Jeff. Thumbs up.
CC safe, Jimmy.
You heard there, the CC is safe.
No, I got it. No, it's not open. Turn the slide.
Confirm. Okay, you can go live. Go to the camera.
Jimmy!
Gary, the architect of New Shepard, congratulations to you, man.
Congratulations.
Give me a
to
hug.
you.
This is just, ugh. What a day. Again, thank you everybody for joining us live for our first human flight of New Shepard. Our 4 astronauts went to space and back, topping over 350,000 feet, well over 100 kilometers. They've come back down safely. We're just waiting here for egress. Our crew is going to get out of the capsule and meet their families back here on the ground. Of course, their families that have provided so much support since they were little kids and dreamt of this to this day and this moment.
Where's Christina and Mar?
Let me know when everybody's there.
We got Mar and Mary. Get in here, Mar. All
right, Caitlin, you ready? Family, are we ready?
Your dad's been around. Oh my God. Your dad. Congratulations. You gotta get up there, sweetheart. Oh my God, it was so great.
What a day again here, a successful launch and landing of the New Shepard rocket and crew capsule with our first human flight crew there, Jeff Bezos, Mark Bezos, Oliver Damon, and Wally Funk.
And they are back on the ground.
And their families
Hugs
there,
and high fives
giving big
all
hugs
around
all around.
there in West Texas. Former NASA astronaut Mike Massimino is with me as well. Mike is also a senior advisor for space programs at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum here in New York. And Mike, you watched it all unfold as well with me here. What do you make of it?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. Really thrilled to be here with you, and amazing what we just saw. I think that this is a great accomplishment. We're for the team at Blue Origin able to pull this off. They had 15 successful flights before this, 3 successful flights of tests of their their escape system, and now they got people on board, and Jeff Bezos takes the first ride. So I think it's pretty exciting. I think it opens up opportunities not only for people. I'm also a professor at Columbia. Some of my students have had an experiment fly already on the New Shepard spacecraft. So I think it's going to open up opportunities and more access to space, and very exciting what Blue Origin has planned for the future as well.
Mr. Costello, we know that there is going to be a news conference of some sort here roughly an hour and a half from now, so reporters will get to ask some questions of the civilian astronauts. What do we know about what happens after this?
They will have, well, first of all, they're going to have some family time, reunited with friends and family right here on the ground, do that privately, and then they have a series, after the news conference, they have a series of one-on-one interviews with the media. You know, a couple of points here. First of all, this isn't really as much about a billionaire going to space in the terms of Jeff Bezos any more than it was really about Richard Branson. It's about this new chapter in allowing anybody eventually to experience seeing the Earth from beyond that, you know, that Kármán line between the atmosphere and space, and providing people really what they hope is kind of a rounding experience, a human experience, and gain a greater appreciation for where we are, for this planet that we are on, and it's only us, right? We're out here in the middle of nowhere in the universe. I would also make the point, it is a very comfortable 75 degrees on the ground here in West Texas, and it normally can get up to 110. The locals here are talking about the fact they cannot believe we're having such wonderful weather here. Yesterday it was only in the 80s. So fantastic weather and a beautiful day to land here in West Texas. Also, by the way, we had a security and a safety briefing here on the ground before this whole thing started. And the director of security for Blue Origin, a very serious guy, said, look out for the rattlesnakes, the scorpions, the tarantulas, and the tornadoes. So beyond that, have a great time. So, you know, you can imagine that I think all the rattlesnakes were scared away when that thing landed in the sand.
A few moments ago, it also appeared as if someone remembered to bring the champagne to the party there in the desert in West Texas. Mae Jemison is back with me as well. May, here we are in 2021. We've just seen 4 civilians head into space. The second time in 9 days we've seen something like this. Where are we going to be 10 years from now, Mae Jemison, if you had to guess?
Wow, that's a big guess for me, Craig. I think that where we're going to be is where I hope we'll be, is that the excitement about space exploration continues, and we will steadfastly continue to support the incredible work that governments do in space exploration, because this is very clearly and rightfully built on work that was from 1961 on in terms of getting humans in space. And so we're able to have a confidence in Blue Origin and what they do, because a lot of the big, heavy lifting was already done. The commercial industry brings a wealth of engineering and innovation to move things forward. So I hope what we're doing is we'll see this continued process where it's not, we haven't sort of said it's only commercial, it's only private industry, but we continue to support the work that NASA does, whether it's long-range space exploration or going back to the moon, and also putting in the work with commercial industry. So in 10 years, perhaps we'll see the ticket prices come down, we'll see more people involved, we'll see more payloads involved, and we will be back on the moon one way or the other.
And that feels like the perfect period to our coverage this morning. Blue Origin soared into space. It was there for roughly 10.5 minutes from touchdown to takeoff. Those 4 civilians, Jeff Bezos, Mark Bezos, Wally Funk, Oliver Damon, all safely back on this planet right now. We will be hearing from them in just a bit. But for now, that concludes our coverage of the Blue Origin space launch. I'm Craig Melvin here in New York. Thank you for watching.